Yeah, it was really hard. But see, the thing about being in recovery and all the friends that I had met, that's what pulled me through all that, and I didn't want to give up, and I wanted to continue to stay sober in my dad's name and my brother's name and kind of, honor them by doing that.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Off the Clock podcast. We're on episode 12. I am Gage Rodas. I'm a comfort advisor here at 5 Star. And today I'm joined by my good friend, Ryan. Ryan, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Ryan. I'm the plumbing warehouse manager here in the Dayton market.
Ryan, thanks for being here, man.
Yeah. No problem.
I like to start this whole thing off with an icebreaker. And I think this one's funny because the last podcast, I got a hilarious answer. But my question is, if you had a theme song that played every time you walked into a room, what song would it be and why?
That's a good question. Let me think. Maybe I like a lot of Eminem. Maybe an Eminem song off Recovery, or maybe like an old Metallica off like.
Give me an actual song. Like if you had to pick one off Recovery or a Metallica song.
For Whom the Bell Tolls, maybe.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
that's a solid one. That was one of my favorite songs growing up. My dad's like an 80s hair metal guy. Really? Yeah, so it was always like he'd pick me up from school blasting Metallica. But For Whom the Bell Tolls was a good one. So, Ryan, tell us about your history. How did you get here? What brought you to 5 Star?
So, a little short version of it is, I was working kind of a dead-end job in a factory. And it was in Dayton. I worked there for about 7 years, and it just didn't, I just felt like I wasn't going anywhere there. I was comfortable, and actually a buddy that works here worked there with me, and his wife ended up coming over here, Kelly.
Okay.
She ended up coming over here and working, and then shortly after that, Ryan joined the team. And then there was an opening for me. So I'm like, everything lined up with what we're about in recovery. And Kelly loved it. Ryan loved it. And I'm like, yeah, it's time to leave. So
yeah. What was that factory job? Like, what were you doing?
So I was a warehouse supervisor in a shipping and receiving department. Drove a forklift a lot. We made parts for like semis and stuff like that.
So you had some experience working in a warehouse and forklift driving and all that. And Ryan was the one who you worked with?
Yeah, we worked together for about 5 or 6 years there.
Okay. Yeah. And just didn't feel like it was going anywhere.
Yeah, it's kind of one of them jobs where like it's a dead end job. There was no opportunity to grow, and it's just kind of monotonous doing the same thing every day.
It's kind of the opposite here.
Yeah.
Right. There's always something new happening.
Yeah.
Lots of opportunity.
Yep.
Ryan, you're an ambitious guy. You have a lot of personality. Obviously, you have like social media and stuff you're doing. Who is someone you can pinpoint that's like been a hero for you, like an inspiration or somebody that's really helped you along your journey?
Well, I mean, I would like to say my parents, my mom especially. She's always been the glue that held our family together. I feel like we've been through a lot as a family, and my mom's always been there. My parents had stayed together their whole life, and helped raise me and my brothers, and she's just been a rock.
Yeah, that's a big part of it.
Yeah,
parents to stay together is huge.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit more about that? Like, how did that look? What would she do? Like, what's some of the things that really like made her a hero for you?
Well, mom always went to work, always had dinner. I remember, like, as a kid, we never really wanted we always had everything we wanted pretty much. They made sure we went to all of our sports games. We had all the stuff that kids would want, bikes, ball bats, and she had dinner made every day. She was just the quintessential mother that you think about growing up.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's inspiring, dude.
People don't stay together a lot these days. There's a lot of divorce, and my parents stayed together through everything. And
that's inspiring.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Can you talk about some of the hardships that you guys went through? I know it sounds like you've had it. It's been pretty good.
Yeah,
but everybody goes through stuff. What does that look like for you?
So being in recovery, I feel like I've been through a lot of hard times in my life. And I think one of the worst years was my first year of recovery in 2014. I ended up losing a brother to addiction. And that was super hard. I'm the oldest of three. It was the middle brother that passed away. And then it wasn't shortly after that I lost my dad. And my dad was like my best friend. Me and my dad did everything together. I looked up to my father, and he passed away when I had like 9 months of sobriety. And yeah, it was really hard. But see, the thing about being in recovery and all the friends that I had met, that's what pulled me through all that, you know. And I didn't want to give up, and I wanted to continue to stay sober in my dad's name and my brother's name, and kind of, you know, honor them by doing that.
Yeah. I feel like that's a message that continues through a lot of the stories that the people hear.
Yeah.
You know, just wanting to honor the people, your heroes, you know. And that's incredible, dude. That's hard. It's a lot of loss.
Yeah.
Loss is never something that's easy, but kudos to you for pushing through, man.
Thanks, man.
What's next for you? What's the hope, a dream? What do you see for the future?
Well, I got a couple goals. Like right now I'm living in an apartment. I definitely want to get a house of my own, get out of this apartment. It's, you know, I'm ready for the next chapter in that. I got a lot of stuff accumulating, a garage full of kayaks and all that. And I need more space. And I feel like I've been there long enough. And
yeah,
that's one of my goals that I want. And, you know, to keep working here and growing and staying in the field.
What are you doing with all those kayaks?
Well, I do what you do with them. I fish, man. I go everywhere, all over, you know, Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania. I fish almost every day.
Yeah. What kind of, any specific fishing, or like
smallmouth, mostly like river smallmouth.
Okay.
That's my passion. Yeah. I love it. I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like when I'm out on the river, I'm just at a calming sense of peace comes over me. And, you know, I'm like one with my higher power, which I choose to call God. Mm-hmm. It's a great feeling. And it's where I unwind and just, you know, that's my happy place.
Yeah, man. Tell the people, because I know you have actually a good following on social media. You do the fishing stuff online. Can you tell people where to find you on that?
Well, I don't have a YouTube channel, but I do have an Instagram. It's Ryan Dahl 82, or you can find me on Facebook at Ryan Dahl, obviously. But I post a lot of stuff on Instagram.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. Yeah. If you could share a message, and the message that we're trying to send is related to one of our core values. And one of those core values is relentless.
Yeah.
Right. And you've already kind of talked about, like, I think you kind of embody being relentless. But if there's a message you could send to our employees, to the audience, anyone watching, what would you say to those people?
I would say never give up. You know, it can always be worse. And like the relentless saying is, you know, we all go through hard things in life, but it's just going to make you a better, stronger person when you get to the other side. And I always had a problem with like reaching out for help. Felt kind of embarrassed and stuff, but like being in the recovery community and here, it's okay to ask for help. I mean, it's out there. And once you do that, you just feel like the weight of the world's lifted off your shoulders. And that's how we get through things, is together, you know.
Yeah.
We're never alone.
Yeah. I feel like that's another thing that is like the first step to all of that, is just being willing to ask for help.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, definitely.
Cool, man. So I always try to end this on a light note because we got a little deep.
Yeah.
But to lighten it up a little bit, and we already know about the fishing, so this might be a little bit hard. But tell me a hidden talent, an interesting fact, something that most people don't know about Ryan Dahl that we can put out there.
Well, I mean, obviously we talked about the fishing. That's like my main hidden talent. I would say I'm pretty athletic. I played sports my whole life, recovery, softball, stuff like that.
Is that co-ed? Is that men's? What is that?
So we did have a co-ed team, and we had a men's team. We would travel around and play.
Are you still doing that now?
No, I'm not. But
Okay.
I know Drew was talking about playing on a recovery softball team. So they have one over at Emerge. Could be a thing I could look into getting into again.
Yeah, there you go, man. There you go. Nice. I love it. All right, friends. Well, that's a wrap on this one. Ryan, thanks for being here, man. We will see you guys next time.
Thanks, guys.